You're seeing more and more of these signs in Montana. Places we've hunted and fished for years are being closed off.
Montana is now #1 on a list that may concern a lot of home buyers.
Absolutely. It's about hunting and fishing. It's about not having to be a millionaire to go to your favorite fishing hole.
In every corner of our state, land values and home pricing is just rising.
Wealthy newcomers, frankly, don't care what happens to the rest of us. It's high time to lower housing costs so we can continue to raise our families here.
Montana is a western state defined by its diverse terrain ranging from the Rocky Mountains to the Great Plains, and its wide open spaces include Glacier National Park and the Yellowstone National Park. People have been able to own land in Montana territory since 1862, yet things have drastically changed since the 1860s.
Welcome to Montana, a state with gorgeous landscapes, sprawling wilderness, and natural resources that have attracted settlers, prospectors, and vacationers for centuries. But what happens to local residents when the government caters exclusively to those outsiders, tourists, and the ultra-rich?
As long as we got folks that want to come to this state that have hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account, that want to make Montana into a playground for the rich, we're going to have a hard time having homes for working class people.
California and New York move aside. Montana is #1 as the least affordable state to buy a home. This is according to statistics from the Montana Association of Realtors.
A lot of the people here that live in the campers, urban campers as they call us, you know, a lot of us got jobs. The prices in Bozeman, or Bose Angeles as they call it, everything's expensive here.
Housing prices have soared. The average single-family home in Bozeman is now over $830,000, and the average rent is up to $2,500.
Lack of housing, no affordable housing here anyway. Rentals have diminished since COVID hit and everybody came up here, bought every rental darn near that was available and turned them into vacation rentals or moved up here themselves.
The locals are being priced out of buying a house, starting a family, working here or some of the other places around town because they can't afford to live in this place anymore.
Exactly.
Nowadays, almost 65% of Montana land is privately owned, and only 18% is owned by the U.S. Forest Service. And roughly 15 million acres of public land are inaccessible in Montana due to being landlocked by private landowners or by individuals who block access to public roads and water. With all that said, what really threatens our lands?
But how they're managed has become a broken system. We have bureaucrats making decisions, oftentimes who've never been to those lands. So public lands must always stay public. Public lands should stay in public hands, no question about it.
If I were to look at lands, I would probably want to consider, I have been told a big problem here in Cascade County is, for example, we cannot build out, and the concern is that we have sold a lot of our lands to the Hutterites. And is that right? And so I don't know who's ever been on our community development, have they thought about that? Because is that a part of the reason that Great Falls does not grow?
But public lands belong to the public. That's you, the people of Montana. Public lands belong to the people, especially those who live amongst them. And I believe that if you're a Montana and you share a fence line with National Forest property, if you're a rancher who has a BLM grazing lease, if you live next to state trust land, you should have more input into what happens on that land than bureaucrats 3,000 miles away.
When it comes to the people of Montana, we're being bought out by out-of-staters, or even being told what to do by politicians 3,000 miles away.
Public lands are one of the things that makes Montana the last best place. Public lands make it so we don't have to be a millionaire to be able to go out and fish and hunt. Public lands employ tens of thousands of people in this state and is worth over $6 billion a year to our economy. The reason all this is true is because they're public lands.
And the first thing to understand is the appreciation in the last 12 months. You can see here Montana has grown its home price by 3.1% over the last year. However, the prices are still really expensive for local home buyers in Montana, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the median household income in the state of Montana is barely over $70,000 a year. That's well below the US average. And the result is that the home price to income ratio in Montana is 6.2. That's the second most expensive state for real estate in the US.
We stock grocery stores, police, fire. I mean, if people can't buy homes, they're more unsettled, more likely to go someplace where they can. But I estimate that 75% of the people who could afford a home 3 years ago cannot buy one today.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of options when you're on a fixed budget.
First-time home buyers right now are basically excluded from the market. We need to find some innovative solutions to that, because this problem, we're just on the front end of this. This isn't going to go away anytime soon.
My message to the president is simple. We need to preserve our lands here so the average Montanan can not only live here, but our future generations can too. And with that being said, what steps do you plan on taking on to help make this happen?